The starship Iron Phoenix drifted through the black void of space like a predator waiting for prey. Inside the bridge, Kang Day watched the scanner screens with cold, practiced eyes. He was a man built by war, broad shoulders, scarred hands, and a face that had forgotten how to smile years ago. His dark hair was cut short for practicality, and his worn combat jacket told stories of 100 close calls with death. "Target in range, Captain," said Park Hana from the weapons station. She was his second in command, sharp as a blade and twice as deadly. Her fingers danced across the controls with easy confidence. Kang Day nodded once. "Fire when ready." The ship shuddered as missiles launched into the darkness. Seconds later, brilliant explosions lit up the void. The Velastrian convoy ships tried to scatter, but it was too late. The Iron Phoenix and her crew had done this dance 100 times before. They were mercenaries, the best in the outer colonies, and tonight's contract was simple: capture the convoy and take whatever valuables they could find. What they found was worth more than gold. When the boarding team returned, they dragged a struggling figure in silver and blue armor. Even through the helmet, Kang Day could tell this was someone important. The armor was too fine, too decorated with symbols he recognized as Velastrian royalty. "She fought like hell, Captain," one of his men said, nursing a broken nose. "Took down 4 of us before we stunned her." They removed the helmet and Kang Day's breath caught for just a moment. The woman was Velastrian. That much was obvious from her pale lavender skin and the strange, elegant angles of her face. Her eyes were large and bright amber, burning with rage and something else, defiance. Her hair was long and dark, pulled back in a warrior's braid. She was beautiful in an alien, dangerous way. "Lock her in the holding cell," Kang Day ordered. "I'll question her later." The woman said nothing as they hauled her away, but her eyes stayed fixed on him. It was a look that promised violence. Hours passed. The Iron Phoenix jumped to faster-than-light travel, putting distance between them and any Velastrian response ships. Kang Day sat in his quarters, studying the data they had recovered from the convoy. His hands froze when he saw the passenger manifest: Princess Yuna Velthara, heir to the Velastrian dominion. "Impossible," he muttered. What was royalty doing out here in the middle of nowhere with only a small escort? It made no sense. The Velastrians were humanity's greatest enemy in the galaxy. Their empire had wiped out entire human colonies. They saw humans as nothing more than clever animals, unworthy of the stars. And now he had their princess locked in his holding cell. Kang Day stood up, grabbed his sidearm and made his way through the ship's narrow corridors. The holding cell was at the lowest level, a small room with reinforced walls and energy barriers. He expected to find the princess sitting in chains, perhaps scared, perhaps angry. Instead, he found her standing free. The chains lay broken on the floor. The princess stood in the center of the cell, her amber eyes fixed on the door as it opened. She moved before Kang Day could even raise his weapon. She was fast, faster than any human had a right to be. She closed the distance in a heartbeat, her hand striking his wrist so hard the gun went flying. Kang Day tried to counter, but she was already inside his guard. A sweep of her leg took his feet out from under him, and then he was on his back with the princess straddling his chest. Something sharp pressed against his throat. She had fashioned a blade from a broken piece of the chain, and now that improvised weapon dimpled his skin just above the jugular. "Kill me or take me," she said in perfect, unaccented human language. Her voice was low and intense. "Those are your only choices, mercenary." Kang Day forced himself to stay calm. He had been in tight spots before, but never quite like this. "I don't understand." "Then let me explain," Princess Yuna said. The blade did not waver. "I was being transported to my wedding, to a warlord named Vecnor, a monster who has slaughtered thousands of your people. My father, the Emperor, arranged this marriage to unite our military forces. Together they plan to exterminate humanity completely." Kang Day's jaw tightened. "So you're here to warn us?" "How generous." "I am here to escape," she corrected. "I do not want this war. I do not want to be a weapon. But if I return to the Dominion, I will have no choice. They will make me into something terrible, so I offer you a deal. Kill me now, quickly and cleanly, or take me with you to human territory. Give me asylum, and if I refuse both," her eyes hardened, "then I will kill you and take my chances with the rest of your crew." For a long moment, they stared at each other. Kang Day studied her face, looking for lies. He had interrogated enough prisoners to know when someone was acting. But the princess was not acting. There was real desperation in her eyes, real fear beneath the warrior's mask. "Why should I trust you?" he asked quietly. "Because I broke free of these chains an hour ago," Yuna said. "I could have killed the guards and stolen an escape pod. But I waited. I waited for you, Captain, because I know who you are. Kangdae, the man who keeps his contracts. The man who has honor even in this dishonorable business. If anyone in human space would understand what I am trying to do, it would be you." Kangdae felt the weight of her words. She had done her research. She knew his reputation. And more than that, she was right. She could have escaped already if she truly wanted to. "Get off me," he said. Princess Yuna hesitated, then slowly stood up. She did not lower the improvised blade. Kangdae climbed to his feet, rubbing his throat where the weapon had pressed. "If I take you, my crew becomes a target. Every bounty hunter and Velastrian warship in the galaxy will be hunting us." "Yes," she agreed simply. "We could die?" "Yes." "Then why would I do this?" Princess Yuna lowered the blade at last. "Because you want to know if peace is possible. Because you are tired of this war just as I am. And because I can give you something worth more than any bounty. I can give you the truth about my empire's weaknesses. I can help you end this." Kangdae stared at the alien princess standing in his holding cell, offering him a choice that could change everything. Every practical instinct told him to hand her over, collect the reward, and forget this ever happened. But something in her eyes stopped him. "No promises," he said finally. "But I will take you as far as the neutral stations. After that, you are on your own." For the first time, Princess Yuna's expression softened. "That is all I ask." Kangdae picked up his weapon and walked toward the door. "And Princess? If you betray me or my crew, I will kill you myself." "I would expect nothing less, Miura," she replied. As the door sealed behind him, Kangdae wondered what he had just agreed to. He had captured an alien princess and decided to help her escape her own people. It was insane. It was dangerous. It was the most interesting thing that had happened to him in years. The crew of the Iron Phoenix did not take the news well. "You want to do what?" Parkana stared at Kangdae like he had lost his mind. They stood in the war room, a cramped space filled with holographic displays and tactical maps. The rest of the senior crew sat around the metal table, their faces ranging from confused to angry. "We transport the princess to neutral territory," Kangdae repeated calmly. "In exchange, she gives us Velastrian military intelligence. Locations of supply depots, fleet movements, defense weaknesses, information that could save human lives. Or it is a trap," Parkana snapped. "Captain, she is Velastrian royalty. They have been trying to wipe us out for 20 years. Why would she suddenly want to help humans? Because she does not want to be a weapon in their war." One of the gunners, a stocky man named Taman, laughed bitterly. "And we are supposed to believe that? The Velastrians think we are animals, vermin to be exterminated. Since when do they grow a conscience?" Kangdae met each of their eyes. "I am not saying we trust her completely, but think about what we could learn. Real intelligence about the Dominion, straight from someone inside their royal family. When was the last time humans had that kind of access?" "Never," Parkana admitted reluctantly. "But that does not make it less dangerous. Every military force in the galaxy will be hunting for her, and us if they find out we are harboring her." "Then we do not get caught," Kangdae said simply. The room fell silent. Finally, Parkana shook her head. "You are the captain. If this is your call, we follow. But if she betrays us, I get to say I told you so before we all die." Kangdae almost smiled. "Fair enough." Princess Yuna was given limited freedom of the ship. She could not access sensitive areas, and 2 guards followed her everywhere. But Kangdae allowed her to move around, to see how humans lived and worked in space. She was fascinated by everything. On the second day, Kangdae found her in the crew common area, watching a group of off-duty soldiers play cards and laugh over cheap alcohol. She stood in the doorway like an observer studying a strange species. "They are so loud," she said when she noticed Kangdae beside her. "Velastrians are taught to be controlled, dignified. But your people laugh and shout and act like children. Does that bother you?" "No." Princess Yuna tilted her head thoughtfully. "It is wonderful. They are happy, even here on this warship in the middle of nowhere. How do humans do that? How do you find joy in darkness?" Kangdae shrugged. "We have to. Otherwise the darkness wins." Over the next few days, Princess Yuna proved her worth. She sat with Kang Day and Park Hana for hours, drawing maps from memory, explaining Velastrian military doctrine, identifying key targets. The information was incredible, specific, detailed, actionable. If even half of it was accurate, human forces could strike devastating blows against the Dominion. This supply depot, Park Hana said, pointing to one of the locations Yuna had marked. If we hit it, we cripple their northern fleet for months. Correct, Yuna confirmed. It is also poorly defended because it is deep inside Velastrian space. They do not expect humans to reach it. Kang Day studied the map. We could sell this information for a fortune. Or use it yourself, Yuna suggested. Your ship is fast. You could strike and be gone before they respond. Park Hana and Kang Day exchanged looks. It was tempting. Very tempting, but there were complications. On the fourth day, the ship's sensors picked up a distress signal. It was weak, scrambled, but unmistakably human. Kang Day made the call to investigate. What they found was a drifting lifeboat, its hull scorched by weapons fire. Inside were 3 survivors from a human mining colony. The Velastrians had attacked without warning, killed everyone, and left the colony burning. The survivors were brought aboard. One woman, her face covered in burns, grabbed Kang Day's arm. They did not even want the resources, she whispered. They just wanted us dead. Like we were nothing. After she was taken to the medical bay, Kang Day stood in the corridor, his hands clenched into fists. This was what the Velastrians did. This was the war they fought. I am sorry. He turned to find Princess Yuna standing nearby, her amber eyes sad. Your people did this. I know. She did not look away. And I am ashamed. My father, the Emperor, teaches that humans are inferior, that you do not deserve the stars. But he is wrong. I have been watching your crew. You are brave, creative, loyal to each other. You survive where Velastrians would give up. You have something we do not. What is that? Hope, Yuna said quietly. Even when everything is terrible, humans hope for something better. We Velastrians only know duty and pride, but hope? That is stronger than both. Kang Day wanted to stay angry, but her words were sincere. Your people will not stop until we are extinct. Not all of us believe in the war, Yuna said. There are others like me in the Dominion. We are few, but we exist. If we can prove that humans are not animals, if we can show the truth, maybe things can change. That is a big maybe. Yes. But is it not worth trying? Before Kang Day could answer, alarms blared throughout the ship. He ran to the bridge, Yuna close behind. Park Hana was already at her station, her face pale. Captain, we have a problem, she said. Long-range sensors just picked up Velastrian signatures. 3 ships closing fast on our position. How did they find us? Kang Day demanded. Yuna stepped forward, her expression grim. They are tracking me. Velastrian royalty have biological markers embedded in our bodies. It allows the military to always know where we are. I thought I had disabled mine, but I must have failed. Can you turn it off now? No. It requires surgical equipment we do not have. She met his eyes. I am sorry. I have brought your death to you. Kang Day made a split-second decision. Park Hana, plot a course into the asteroid field ahead. We cannot outrun them, so we hide. The asteroid field is dense. Captain, dangerous. So are Velastrian warships. Move. As the Iron Phoenix dove toward the swirling field of rock and ice, Kang Day turned to Princess Yuna. You said you can pilot Velastrian ships? Yes, I am trained in all military craft. Good. Because I have a plan, and it is probably going to get us killed. For the first time since he met her, Princess Yuna smiled. It was a fierce, wild expression. Then it is a human plan. I am ready. Over the next hour, Kang Day explained his idea. It was risky and required perfect timing. Park Hana called it insane. Taemin said they would all die, but no one had a better option. The Velastrian ships entered the asteroid field, their powerful sensors searching for the human ship. They did not know that the Iron Phoenix had already moved, hiding in the shadow of a massive rotating asteroid, and they definitely did not expect Princess Yuna to broadcast a message directly to them. This is Princess Yuna Velthara, she said, her voice cold and commanding. I am being held by human mercenaries. They are demanding ransom. I'm transmitting my coordinates. Come and retrieve me. The Velastrian ships immediately changed course, racing toward the coordinates she had given. What they found was not the princess, but a cluster of old mining charges that the Iron Phoenix had left behind. The explosion tore through space like a miniature sun. Two of the Valastrian ships were destroyed instantly. The third was crippled, spinning out of control into the asteroids. On the bridge of the Iron Phoenix, the crew erupted in cheers. Parkhana clasped Kang Dae's shoulder, grinning widely. "You crazy bastard." "It worked." Kang Dae looked at Princess Yuna. "You lied to your own people, sent them into a trap." "I chose a side," she said simply. "Your side." For a moment, something passed between them, an understanding, a connection. She had committed herself fully to this path. There was no going back for her now. "Then welcome to the crew, Princess," Kang Dae said. Yuna bowed her head. "Thank you, Captain. I will not disappoint you." As the Iron Phoenix left the asteroid field behind, Kang Dae knew that everything had changed. They were no longer just mercenaries with a valuable prisoner. They were rebels now, fighting against the entire Valastrian Empire. And somehow that felt right. 3 days after the asteroid field ambush, the Iron Phoenix received a message that made everyone go silent. It was broadcast on all frequencies, impossible to ignore. The face that appeared on the view screen was Valastrian, proud and cruel. The alien wore elaborate military armor decorated with symbols of rank and conquest. His eyes were cold silver, and when he spoke, his voice carried absolute authority. "I am Commander Vecnor of the Valastrian Imperial Fleet," he announced. "You are harboring Princess Yuna Velthara, daughter of the Emperor and my promised bride. Return her immediately, or face complete annihilation." The message showed footage of burning human colonies, bodies floating in space, entire cities reduced to ash. "This is what happens to those who defy the Dominion," Vecnor continued. "You have 12 hours to surrender the princess. After that, no mercy will be given." The transmission ended. Kang Dae stood on the bridge, his face carved from stone. Around him, the crew looked nervous. Even Parkhana seemed unsettled. "That is the warlord I was supposed to marry," Princess Yuna said quietly. She stood beside Kang Dae, staring at the now blank screen. "He has destroyed 47 human colonies personally. He enjoys it. My father chose him because he is the most ruthless commander in our fleet." "Can we outrun him?" Parkhana asked. "No," Yuna said. "His flagship is twice as fast as this ship and has 50 times the firepower. In open space, he will destroy you in minutes." Taemin swore under his breath. "So we are dead." "Not yet," Kang Dae said. He pulled up a star map, studying their position. "There is an asteroid field ahead. Dense, chaotic, dangerous for large ships. We just used that trick," Parkhana pointed out. "They will expect it. I am not planning to hide this time." Kang Dae traced a path through the field with his finger. "We use the asteroids as cover and as weapons. We make them chase us through a maze where their size works against them." "That is insane," Taemin said. "One mistake and we crash. Then we do not make mistakes." Kang Dae turned to Princess Yuna. "You said you can pilot Valastrian craft. Can you pilot a human ship through an asteroid field?" Her amber eyes widened. "You want me to fly your ship?" "You have faster reflexes than any human. If anyone can navigate that field at high speed, it is you." He held her gaze. "Do you trust yourself?" Princess Yuna straightened. "Yes." "Then you have the helm." Parkhana started to protest, but Kang Dae cut her off. "We need every advantage. She is our best pilot right now." 10 hours later, the Valastrian dreadnought dropped out of faster-than-light travel. It was massive, a ship designed to break worlds. Weapons bristled along its hull like the spines of a metal beast. Beside it, the Iron Phoenix looked like a child's toy. "This is your final warning," Vecnor's voice boomed across the communication channel. "Surrender Princess Yuna or die." Kang Dae leaned back in the captain's chair. "This is Captain Kang Dae of the Iron Phoenix. Your princess does not want to go back. And we are not in the habit of handing over people who ask for our protection." There was a pause. Then Vecnor laughed, a sound like grinding metal. "So the animals have grown brave, very well. I will take her from your corpse." The dreadnought's weapons powered up, energy gathering for a devastating strike. "Now," Kang Dae said calmly. Princess Yuna's hands flew across the controls. The Iron Phoenix spun and dove, racing toward the asteroid field at maximum speed. Behind them, the dreadnought fired, massive energy beams cutting through space where they had just been. "He is pursuing," Parkhana reported. 3 escort fighters launching." "Let them come," Kang Dae said. He switched to weapons control. "Yuna, get us into the field. Parkhana, target those fighters. Everyone else, hold on." The asteroid field appeared before them like a wall of spinning rock and ice. Most pilots would slow down, approach carefully. Princess Yuna accelerated. "Trust me," she whispered, and sent the ship diving between two enormous asteroids, missing both by meters. Behind them, one of the escort fighters was not as skilled. It clipped an asteroid and exploded in a ball of fire. The chase became a deadly dance. Princess Yuna flew like she was born in space, threading the Iron Phoenix through impossible gaps, banking and rolling around obstacles that appeared with barely seconds of warning. Her Velastrian reflexes made moves that would kill a human pilot. Kang De worked the weapons, firing at asteroids to send them spinning into the path of their pursuers. Park Hana coordinated with him, creating a deadly obstacle course. Two more escort fighters crashed trying to keep up, but the dreadnought kept coming. It was slower, but it simply smashed through smaller asteroids, its shields absorbing impacts that would destroy lesser ships. "We cannot keep this up forever," Park Hana said. "We will run out of field eventually." Kang De studied the tactical display, his mind racing. The dreadnought was powerful but large. It could not maneuver like a smaller ship. There had to be a way to use that against it. "Yuna, do you see that cluster of asteroids ahead? The ones spinning in a tight formation?" "Yes. Can you fly through the center of them?" Princess Yuna looked at the display, calculating. "It would require perfect timing. If I am off by even a second, we crash. Can you do it?" She met his eyes in the reflection of the canopy. "Yes, then do it. And Park Hana, the moment we are through, target the 3 largest asteroids with everything we have. Knock them out of their rotation." Park Hana understood immediately. "You want to create a collision. The dreadnought is too big to follow our path. It will try to go around, but if those asteroids suddenly change direction, it crashes into them." Park Hana grinned fiercely. "I love human tactics." Princess Yuna took a deep breath and pushed the engines to maximum. The Iron Phoenix shot forward, racing toward the spinning cluster of asteroids. On any other day, attempting this would be suicide. But today, they had no choice. The asteroids loomed huge in the view screen, spinning like massive tops. There was a gap in the center, a space barely wider than their ship. Princess Yuna lined up the approach, her hand steady on the controls. "Now," she whispered. The ship dove into the cluster. For 3 terrifying seconds, asteroids filled every view, spinning past so close that Kang De could see the details of their icy surfaces. The hull groaned. Alarms screamed. Everyone held their breath. Then they were through, shooting out the other side into clear space. "Firing!" Park Hana shouted. The Iron Phoenix's weapons blazed, striking 3 massive asteroids in quick succession. The impact sent them spinning out of their stable orbits, tumbling wildly. The dreadnought, following on its wider path around the cluster, suddenly found its route filled with tumbling asteroids the size of mountains. Vecnor tried to stop, tried to turn, but a ship that large could not change direction quickly. The first asteroid hit the dreadnought's shields, making them flare bright. The second one smashed through the weakened shields and tore into the ship's hull. The third struck the engines. Explosions rippled across the massive warship. It began to list powerless, its engines dead. On the Iron Phoenix, the crew erupted in cheers. Taman was shouting, Park Hana was laughing, and even the normally stoic engineers were celebrating. Princess Yuna sagged in the pilot's seat, her hands shaking slightly. Kang De put a hand on her shoulder. "You did it," he said quietly. "We did it," she corrected, looking up at him. "I have never flown like that before. Never been given that kind of freedom. In the Dominion, everything is controlled, regulated, but you trusted me to make my own choices. You earned that trust," Kang De said. Before either could say more, the communication channel crackled to life. Vecnor's face appeared again, but this time he looked furious rather than confident. Behind him, smoke filled the dreadnought's bridge. "This changes nothing," he snarled. "More ships are coming. Entire fleets will hunt you. You cannot run forever, princess. And when we catch you, I will make you watch as I exterminate every human you tried to protect." Princess Yuna stood up, stepping to the view screen. When she spoke, her voice was ice. "You are a fool, Vecnor. You never understood why the humans are winning this war. It is not their weapons or their numbers. It is because they refuse to give up. They adapt, they improvise, they find hope in impossible situations. Those are things we Velastrians forgot long ago. That is why we will lose." "You are a traitor to your people," Vecnor spat. "No," Yuna said calmly. I am trying to save them from fools like you. Goodbye, Commander. She cut the transmission. The Iron Phoenix jumped to faster-than-light travel, leaving the crippled dreadnought behind. They had won this battle, but everyone knew the war was far from over. Later, in the quiet of the ship's observation deck, Kang Day found Princess Yuna staring out at the stars. She looked tired but at peace. I crossed a line today, she said without turning. I led Velastrian ships to their deaths. I spoke against my own people. There is no going back now. Regrets? No. She finally looked at him. For the first time in my life, I feel free. I am not a weapon, not a princess, not a political tool. I am just me. Kang Day stood beside her, looking out at the infinite stars. Welcome to being human. It is terrifying and wonderful at the same time. Princess Yuna smiled. Teach me more. I want to understand everything about your people. Your music, your food, your stupid jokes that make no sense. That might take a while. Good, she said. We have time. But even as they spoke, both knew that time was running out. More ships would come. More battles would be fought. And somewhere in the Da, the neutral station called Haven's Gate hung in space like a small city, made of metal and lights. It was supposed to be safe territory, a place where humans and aliens could trade without fear of attack. Neither the Velastrian Empire nor human military forces were allowed to bring weapons here. It was the perfect place for Princess Yuna to disappear, or so Kang Day had thought. The Iron Phoenix approached the station slowly, following all the proper procedures. Kang Day had sent the docking request hours ago. Now they waited for permission to enter. Something feels wrong, Park Hana muttered. She stood at the tactical station watching the sensor readings. The station is too quiet. Usually at this time there are dozens of ships coming and going. Maybe they are having a slow day, Taemin suggested, but he did not sound convinced. The communication channel crackled to life. This is Haven's Gate Control. Request denied. The Iron Phoenix is not permitted to dock. Kang Day leaned forward. What? We have done nothing wrong. We are registered traders with full documentation. Your documentation is irrelevant, the voice replied coldly. We know who you are carrying. Princess Yuna Velthara is wanted by both Velastrian and human authorities. We cannot risk the political complications of harboring her. Leave immediately or we will open fire. The channel went dead. Silence filled the bridge. Princess Yuna stood near the back, her face carefully neutral, but Kang Day could see the pain in her eyes. They are afraid, she said quietly. I have become too dangerous. Everywhere I go, I bring war with me. This is not your fault, Kang Day said, is it not? Yuna looked at him. Your own people want to capture me. The Dominion wants me executed as a traitor. I am a threat to everyone. Perhaps it would be better if I simply... Do not finish that sentence, Kang Day cut her off sharply. We do not give up. That is not how humans survive. Park Hana pulled up a newsfeed on the main screen. What they saw made everything worse. Princess Yuna's face was everywhere. The Velastrian Empire had officially declared her a traitor and offered an enormous bounty for her capture. Alive if possible, but dead was acceptable. They claimed she had stolen state secrets and murdered royal guards. But worse, human authorities had also put out a warrant. They wanted Princess Yuna captured for questioning. The official statement said she was valuable for intelligence purposes, but everyone knew what that meant. She would be locked away, interrogated, used as a bargaining chip in the war. 10 million credits from the Velastrians, Taemin read aloud. 5 million from Human Military Command. That is enough money to buy a fleet of ships. Or retire to a paradise world, another crew member added quietly. Kang Day felt the tension on the bridge. His crew was loyal, but this was a fortune beyond imagining. Any one of them could turn the princess in and live like royalty for the rest of their lives. If anyone wants to leave, now is the time, Kang Day said. No judgment. This fight has become bigger than one mercenary crew. I will not force anyone to stay. No one moved for a long moment. Then Taemin stood up. I am staying. The Velastrians killed my sister on Colony Arcturus 7. I do not care about bounties. I care about making them hurt. One by one, the crew declared themselves. Some stayed for revenge, some for loyalty to Kang Day, and a few, like Park Hana, because they had come to believe in what Princess Yuna represented. A chance for the war to end. Only 2 crew members chose to leave. Kang Day gave them a shuttle and coordinates to the nearest human outpost. He held no grudge. Survival was a reasonable choice. After the shuttle departed, Kang Day called a meeting in the war room. Park Hana, Taemin, Princess Yuna, and the senior staff gathered around the holographic table. "We need a new plan," Kang Day said. "Every port will turn us away. We cannot stay in space forever. Eventually we run out of supplies, fuel, or luck. What if we do not hide?" Princess Yuna suggested. Everyone turned to look at her. "What if we fight? Fight an entire empire?" Park Hana asked. "The Velastrians have 1,000 warships, but they are divided," Yuna said. She pulled up a star map, highlighting several sectors. "The bounty on my head proves it. Commander Vecnor offered 10 million credits. That is his personal fortune, not Imperial money. My father, the Emperor, is furious that I escaped, but he is also scared." "Scared of what?" Kang Day asked. "Of what I know." Yuna began highlighting more locations on the map. "I was raised in the Imperial Palace. I attended military briefings. I know things that could shatter the Dominion if they became public. Not just tactical information, but political secrets. My father has been lying to his own people for decades." She looked around the table. "The Velastrian Empire is not as strong as it appears. There are factions within the military who oppose the war. There are colonies that want independence. There are even royals who think my father is leading us to destruction, but they are all afraid to speak openly." "What are you suggesting?" Park Hana asked. "We expose the truth," Yuna said. "Not just to humans, but to Velastrians. We show both sides that this war is being fought for the wrong reasons. We prove that my father has been committing crimes even by Velastrian law." Taemin leaned back. "That is ambitious." "How do we do that?" "There is a fortress world called Corvin Prime," Yuna explained. "It is deep in Velastrian space, heavily defended. But it contains the Imperial archives, records of every military operation, every political decision, every secret the royal family has kept for 100 years. "Let me guess," Kang Day said. "You want us to break into this fortress and steal the files?" "Yes. That is suicide." "Probably," Yuna agreed. "But it is also the only way to end this war. If we can broadcast the truth to both sides, we can turn the Dominion against itself. We can give human forces the allies they need among my people." The room fell silent as everyone considered the magnitude of what she was proposing. It was insane. It was impossible. It was exactly the kind of plan that might actually work. "How do we even get to Corvin Prime?" Park Hana asked. "We would need to cross through the most heavily defended space in the galaxy." "I can get us through," Yuna said. "I still have my royal credentials. If we disguise the Iron Phoenix as a Velastrian supply ship, I can authorize our passage. No one questions a princess, even a runaway one. By the time they realize what we are doing, we will be inside the fortress." Kang Day studied the map, calculating odds and risks. "We would need better weapons, more crew, specialized equipment for breaking into Imperial archives." "I know where to get all of that," Yuna said. "But it will require us to go somewhere neither of our peoples control." "Where?" "The fringe colonies, places where pirates and smugglers operate. They hate both the Velastrians and human authorities. If we can convince them to help us, we might have a chance." It was a long shot. Actually, it was thousands of long shots stacked on top of each other. But Kang Day had learned something in his years as a mercenary. The impossible was just difficult that nobody had tried yet. "All right," he said. "We go to the fringe. We gather allies. And then we do something incredibly stupid." Park Hana grinned. "Finally. A plan I understand." That night, Kang Day found Princess Yuna alone in the ship's small observation deck. She stood at the window watching the stars drift past. "You are taking a huge risk for us," he said, joining her. "For humans, why?" Yuna was quiet for a long moment. "When I was young, I was taught that humans were less than Velastrians, that you were violent, crude, without culture or honor. But then I studied your history. I read your literature, listened to your music, watched recordings of your lives." She turned to face him. "Do you know what I found? Humans create beauty in the midst of horror. You laugh when you should be crying. You hope when hope makes no sense. You survive things that would break my people, and you do it with this strange, stubborn optimism." "That does not sound like a compliment." "It is the greatest compliment I can give," Yuna said softly. "Velastrians are strong, but we are brittle. We break under pressure because we cannot adapt. But humans? You bend, you change, you become whatever you need to be to survive. That is why you will win this war eventually. Not because you are stronger, but because you refuse to give up. Kangde felt something shift between them. Standing here in the starlight, she was not a princess and he was not a mercenary. They were just two people trying to survive in a galaxy that wanted them dead. I am afraid, Yuna admitted. I have never been afraid before. In the Dominion, I always knew my role, my purpose. But now I have chosen my own path and I do not know if it is the right one. That is what freedom feels like, Kangde said, terrifying and wonderful at the same time. Yuna smiled, but it was sad. Will I ever truly be free? Or will I always be running? We will find out together, Kangde promised. And for the first time he realized he meant it. This was not just about the bounty anymore or even about the war. It was about her. The Iron Phoenix changed course, heading toward the lawless fringe colonies. Behind them, they left the safety of neutral space. Ahead of them lay danger, uncertainty, and probably death. But they were not giving up. That was the human way. The fringe colonies existed in the dark spaces between empires. Here, no law reached except the law of survival. Pirates, smugglers, deserters from both sides of the war. They all came here to disappear. The Iron Phoenix docked at a place called Rust Haven, a station built from the salvaged remains of destroyed warships. It looked like a metal corpse held together by determination and welding. Stay close, Kangde told Princess Yuna as they walked through the crowded corridors. People here will kill you for your shoes. Do not look weak. Yuna had changed her appearance. She wore a heavy coat that hid her distinctive Velastrian features, and a scarf covered the lower part of her face. But her amber eyes were still visible, and more than one person stared as they passed. They met in a bar called the Broken Shield. It smelled like cheap alcohol and desperation. Parkhana and Taman came with them, both armed and alert. The person they came to see sat in the corner booth. His name was Minho, and he had once been a human military captain before he deserted. Now he ran weapons and information to anyone who could pay. Kangde, Minho greeted them with a cautious smile. I heard you were dead, or arrested, or running from half the galaxy. All three, probably, Kangde replied, sliding into the booth. Princess Yuna sat beside him, keeping her face hidden. Minho's eyes flicked to her. And this is the famous princess everyone is hunting. You have terrible taste in passengers, old friend. I need your help, Minho. Of course you do. No one comes to the fringe for vacation. He leaned back. What do you need? Weapons, equipment for breaking into high-security systems, and information about Corvin Prime. Minho whistled low. Corvin Prime. That is deep inside Velastrian space. Heavily fortified, constantly patrolled. Going there is suicide. We are aware, Parkhana said dryly. Why would you even attempt it? Princess Yuna lowered her scarf, revealing her face. Because the truth is there. Evidence that can end this war. But we cannot do it alone. We need allies who are not afraid to fight both empires. Minho stared at her for a long moment. Then he laughed, but it was not a happy sound. You want to start a revolution? Yes, Yuna said simply. And you think people here will help you? We are criminals, Princess. We do not believe in causes. You believe in survival, Yuna countered. This war will not end until one side is completely destroyed. Maybe it will be humans. Maybe it will be Velastrians. But if it continues, eventually it will reach even here. The fringe will burn like everything else. Minho was silent. Around them, the bar continued its noise, but at their table, everything was still. What is in it for us? Minho finally asked. Freedom, Yuna said. Real freedom. Not just hiding in the dark spaces between empires, but the freedom to live without fear. If we expose the truth about the Emperor's crimes, the Dominion will tear itself apart. The war ends, everyone can start rebuilding. That is a nice dream. Dreams are all humans have, Kangde said, but they make them real through action. Are you in or not? Minho studied them all. Then he nodded slowly. I know some people. Veterans, deserters, pirates who hate both sides. If you can promise them a real chance to hurt the empires, they might listen. Over the next week, Kangde and Princess Yuna met with various groups throughout the fringe. Some were human, some were aliens from species caught in the middle of the human-Velastrian war. All of them were survivors. Princess Yuna spoke to each group explaining the plan. She was honest about the risks but passionate about the possibility. Slowly, incredibly, people began to believe. A former Velastrian soldier named Borum joined them. He had deserted after being ordered to massacre human civilians. "I thought I was serving honor," he said. "But there is no honor in killing children." A human pilot named Jisoo volunteered her ship. "My colony was destroyed by Velastrians. If your plan can prevent that from happening to others, I am in." More came. 20, then 30, then 50. Not all of them believed in peace. Some just wanted revenge. Others wanted the bounty on Princess Yuna's head. But Kangde took them all because they needed every person they could get. While gathering allies, Princess Yuna worked on another project. She had been sending coded messages into Velastrian space, using channels that only royalty knew about. She was reaching out to those she called the silent opposition, Velastrians who opposed the war but could not speak openly. One night she received a reply. "It worked," she told Kangde excitedly. General Heejin responded. "She commands a battle group on the frontier. She says there are dozens of officers like her, tired of the Emperor's madness. If we can prove his crimes, they will turn against him. Can we trust them?" Kangde asked. "I do not know," Yuna admitted. "But we have no choice. We need allies inside the Dominion if this plan has any chance of working." As the days passed, Kangde noticed changes in Princess Yuna. She laughed more easily now. She had learned to play cards with the crew and lost badly every time. She listened to human music and tried to understand the strange emotions it conveyed. She was becoming less of a princess and more of a person. One evening he found her in the ship's small gym, practicing combat forms. She moved like flowing water, each movement precise and deadly. "Your people fight beautifully," Kangde observed. "It is a dance," Yuna said, not stopping. "Every move has been refined over centuries, but it is also rigid, predictable. Your human fighting is messy, chaotic. It should not work, but it does." "We adapt," Kangde said. "We make it up as we go." Yuna stopped and looked at him. "Teach me." "What?" "Teach me to fight like a human. I want to learn your chaos." So Kangde showed her. He taught her dirty tricks that no Velastrian warrior would use. How to fight when you are smaller and weaker. How to turn your environment into a weapon. How to survive when all the rules say you should die. They sparred, and for the first time, Princess Yuna lost control of her perfect technique. She became wild, instinctive, and she was better for it. Afterward, they sat on the gym floor, both breathing hard. "I am scared," Yuna admitted, "of what comes next. Of failing. Of letting everyone down." "That means you care," Kangde said. "Velastrians are taught not to care, right? To value duty over emotion?" "Yes." "Then you are becoming more human every day." Yuna looked at him and something passed between them. A connection deeper than words. She leaned closer and for a moment Kangde thought she might kiss him. But Park Hana's voice came over the intercom. "Captain, we have a problem. You need to see this. The moment broke." They stood up and hurried to the bridge. On the main screen was a news broadcast. It showed Commander Vecnor making an announcement. His damaged dreadnought had been repaired and now he commanded an entire fleet. He was personally leading the hunt for Princess Yuna. "More than that," Park Hana said grimly. "He knows we are gathering forces in the fringe. He is coming here." "How long do we have?" Kangde asked. 3 days. "Maybe 4. The room went silent. They had been running out of time before, but now time had run out completely. "We move now," Kangde decided. "Everyone who agreed to join us, we leave tomorrow. We head for Corvin Prime before Vecnor can stop us." "But we are not ready," Taman protested. "We do not have all the equipment. Our people barely know each other. This is not an army, it is a mob." "Then we make it work anyway," Kangde said. "Because if we wait, we die." Princess Yuna stood up. "He is right. This was always going to be desperate. We knew that from the beginning. Now we simply run out of time to pretend otherwise." That night, the entire fleet gathered in space. 50 ships, most of them small, all of them damaged or outdated. Against the might of the Velastrian military, they looked like insects challenging a giant. But they were all volunteers. Every single person had chosen to be here, knowing they might die. Kangde opened a communication channel to the entire fleet. "I am not good at speeches," he began. "I am a mercenary. I fight for money. But this time we fight for something bigger. We fight for the chance that maybe, just maybe, this stupid war can end. That humans and Velastrians can stop killing each other and start living again." He looked at Princess Yuna standing beside him. "A wise person once told me that humans have something special. We have hope even when hope is foolish. Well, this plan is foolish. Our odds are terrible. We will probably fail. He smiled grimly. But we are going to try anyway. Because that is what humans do. We try the impossible and sometimes somehow we make it real. So here is what I promise you. If we die making the galaxy shake. We die showing both empires that some things are worth dying for. Are you with me? From 50 ships the answer came back. A roar of defiance, of determination, of hope against all logic. The fleet jumped to faster-than-light travel, heading deep into Velastrian space. Behind them, Commander Vecnor's forces began their pursuit. The final battle was coming. Corvin Prime hung in space like a dark jewel. The fortress world was covered in military installations, weapons platforms, and shield generators. Thousands of ships patrolled its orbit. It was the most heavily defended location in the Velastrian Empire, and Kang Day was about to attack it with 50 outdated ships and a desperate plan. This is insane, Parkhana muttered from her station. Even with the princess's credentials, they are going to see through our disguise. Probably, Kang Day agreed, but we only need a few minutes. Just long enough to get a small team on the surface. Princess Yuna stood at the communication console, preparing to broadcast her royal authorization. She wore her full Velastrian royal armor now, no longer hiding who she was. The silver and blue plates gleamed under the bridge lights. Once I send this message, there is no going back, she said. They will know I am here. Every ship in the system will hunt us. Then we better be fast, Kang Day said. Yuna took a deep breath and opened the channel. This is Princess Yuna Velthara, heir to the Dominion. I am arriving at Corvin Prime for an inspection of the Imperial Archives. All ships are to grant me immediate passage by order of the royal family. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the response came. Princess Yuna, your arrival is unexpected. We were not informed of any royal inspection. I do not require your permission. Commander, Yuna said coldly, using the imperial tone she had been taught since childhood. Stand down your patrols and open the fortress gates. I will not ask twice. There was a longer pause. Kang Day could imagine the confusion on the fortress command deck. A wanted princess suddenly appearing and demanding entry. They did not know what to do. Understood, princess. You are cleared for approach. But be advised, General Ryan requests your presence immediately upon landing. Yuna's expression flickered for just a moment. General Ryan is here? Yes, princess. He commands the fortress garrison. After she closed the channel, Kang Day asked, You know him? He was my weapons instructor when I was young, Yuna said quietly. A good man, or so I thought. If he is truly still loyal to the Emperor, this just became much more dangerous. The fleet approached Corvin Prime slowly. Most of the ships stayed back while the Iron Phoenix and 3 others descended toward the planet's surface. The fortress was massive, built into the side of a mountain, its walls thick enough to withstand orbital bombardment. They landed in the main courtyard. Velastrian soldiers surrounded them immediately, weapons ready but not yet aimed. Kang Day and his team stepped out, wearing captured Velastrian armor. In the middle of the group, Princess Yuna walked with her head high, every inch the royal heir. General Ryan waited for them at the fortress entrance. He was old for a Velastrian, his lavender skin marked with scars from a lifetime of battle. When he saw Princess Yuna, his expression was unreadable. Princess, he said, bowing slightly. This is unexpected. I come for the archives, Yuna said. The Emperor requires certain documents for the war effort. Of course. General Ryan's eyes moved across her companions. And these humans? Prisoners, Yuna said smoothly. Being transferred for interrogation. Is there a problem, General? No problem, Princess. Though I must say, you have been the subject of much discussion lately. There are those who say you have betrayed the Dominion. Do you believe such lies? General Ryan smiled, and it was not friendly. I believe you are about to find out. Suddenly, soldiers were everywhere. Weapons aimed at Kang Day's team from all sides. They had been caught. I am sorry, Princess, General Ryan said, not sounding sorry at all. But you are under arrest for treason. These humans will be executed, and you will be returned to your father. He is very eager to see you again. Kang Day reached for his weapon, but Parkhana grabbed his arm. Too many, she whispered. We cannot fight our way out. They were disarmed and marched into the fortress. The archive they needed was so close, but it might as well have been on another world. They had failed. They were thrown into separate cells deep in the fortress. Kang Day paced his small room, mind racing for solutions. There had to be a way out. There had to be. Hours passed. Then the door opened and General Ryan entered alone. "Captain Kang Day," he said, studying the human. "I wanted to meet the man who corrupted Princess Yuna. What did you promise her? Money, power?" "I did not promise her anything," Kang Day said. "She chose this path herself. Impossible. Velastrian royalty does not simply abandon duty." "Maybe that is your problem," Kang Day shot back. "You are so locked into duty that you cannot see when duty becomes evil. Your emperor is prolonging this war deliberately. He is killing his own people to maintain power, and you serve him blindly." General Ryan's face darkened. "You know nothing of honor." "I know that honor without conscience is just obedience." The princess understood that. "Why can you not?" Before General Ryan could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the fortress. Distant explosions shook the walls. "What is happening?" the general demanded, speaking into his communicator. "Sir, we are under attack. Unknown ships are striking our orbital defenses." "They are—" The voice cut off in static and screams. General Ryan ran from the cell, leaving Kang Day locked inside. But minutes later, the cell door exploded inward. Borum stood there, the Velastrian deserter who had joined them in the fringe. "We have very little time," Borum said, tossing Kang Day a weapon. "Your friends are causing chaos above. We must reach the archives now." They freed the others and fought through the fortress corridors. Velastrian soldiers tried to stop them, but they were confused by the attack from orbit. Half of them thought the humans were prisoners escaping. The other half thought they were part of some secret mission. In the chaos, Kang Day's team slipped through. Princess Yuna led them to the archives. The door was sealed with royal biometric locks that only she could open. Her hand pressed against the scanner and the massive doors slid open. Inside was more than a room. It was a vast hall filled with data cores, physical documents, and holographic records stretching back centuries. This was the memory of the Velastrian Empire. "We need evidence of the Emperor's war crimes," Yuna said, moving to a specific terminal. "Recordings of military orders, communications, anything that shows he has been prolonging the war for political gain." Her fingers flew across the controls. Kang Day and the others guarded the entrance while she worked. Outside, the sounds of battle grew closer. "Found it," Yuna whispered. "Oh, ancestors, it is worse than I thought." On the screen appeared documents showing the Emperor deliberately sabotaging peace negotiations. Communications where he ordered attacks on his own colonies to blame humans. Military records of Velastrian officers who questioned the war being secretly executed. "He has been murdering his own people," Yuna said, her voice shaking. "Anyone who opposed the war, anyone who suggested peace, he had them killed. This war could have ended years ago, but he kept it going to eliminate political rivals." "Can you transmit this?" Kang Day asked. "To everywhere," Yuna said. "Every Velastrian military ship, every colony, every communication network. But it will take time." "Then we buy you time." Outside the archives, General Ryan had rallied his soldiers. They formed a battle line blocking the corridor, weapons raised. "Princess," the general called out. "Surrender now." "You cannot win." Princess Yuna stepped forward, visible to all the soldiers. "General, I have found the truth. The Emperor has been lying to all of us. He has killed thousands of Velastrians who wanted peace. He has betrayed everything our empire is supposed to stand for." "Lies," General Ryan said, but he sounded uncertain. "Then let me broadcast what I found. Let every Velastrian see these records and judge for themselves. If I am lying, they will know. But if I am telling the truth, will you still serve a tyrant?" For a long moment, General Ryan was silent. Around him, soldiers shifted uncomfortably. Some lowered their weapons slightly. Then Commander Vecnor's voice boomed through the fortress speakers. "All units, kill the traitor princess and her human allies. These are the Emperor's orders." General Ryan looked up at the speakers. Something in his face changed. "The Emperor's orders," he repeated quietly. Then he looked at Princess Yuna. "When you were my student, I taught you that true honor means protecting the innocent. I forgot that lesson somewhere along the way." He turned to his soldiers. "Stand down. Let the princess transmit her evidence." "General," one officer protested. "That is treason." "No," General Ryan said firmly. "Following evil orders is treason. Now stand down." Half the soldiers obeyed. The other half raised their weapons. For a terrible moment, Velastrian faced Velastrian, ready to kill each other. Then Princess Yuna pressed the final key. The transmission began. Every screen in the fortress, every ship in orbit, every communication device in Velastrian space suddenly showed the Emperor's crimes. The evidence poured out like a flood. Documents, recordings, testimony, proof of decades of betrayal, and the Valastrian Empire began to tear itself apart. In orbit, ships turned on each other as crews split between loyalists and rebels. On the fortress walls, soldiers fought soldiers. Commander Vecnor's fleet arrived, but half his ships refused his orders. In the chaos, General Ryan led Kang Day's team to the escape shuttles. "Go," he told them. "I will hold this position. The truth is out now. Whatever happens next, at least it will be honest." "Come with us," Princess Yuna said. "No. My place is here, trying to rebuild what we have broken." He salute across the galaxy. Humans and Valastrians watched the evidence pour out. They saw an emperor who had betrayed his own people. They saw a war prolonged not for honor or survival, but for political power. They saw the truth, and they reacted. Within days, the Valastrian Empire fractured. Entire fleets declared independence from the emperor. Colonies that had supported the war now called for peace negotiations. Military commanders who had followed orders without question now questioned everything. The emperor tried to maintain control, but it was too late. His lies had been exposed. Even his most loyal supporters could not defend the evidence Princess Yuna had broadcast. But the empire did not fall quietly. Commander Vecnor remained loyal, commanding what was left of the imperial fleet. He declared that he would hunt Princess Yuna to the end of the galaxy, that this rebellion was a human trick, that anyone who abandoned the emperor was a traitor. A new war began, not between humans and Valastrians, but between Valastrians themselves. The Iron Phoenix and its small fleet tried to escape the chaos, but they were hunted by both sides. Loyalists wanted Princess Yuna dead for starting the rebellion. Rebels wanted her as a symbol, to force her to lead their movement. Everyone wanted something from her. They ran for weeks, jumping from system to system, always one step ahead of their pursuers. The small fleet that had attacked Corvin Prime was scattered. Some ships were destroyed, others captured. Many simply disappeared into the darkness of space. In the end, only 5 ships remained with the Iron Phoenix. Park Hana had been killed during their escape from Corvin Prime, dying to hold a corridor so others could reach the shuttles. Taman had survived, but he was badly wounded. Borum and Jisoo were still with them, along with a handful of other survivors. They were exhausted, low on supplies, and running out of places to hide. "Where do we go?" Minho asked during a command meeting. He looked older now, worn down by weeks of constant running. "Every port turns us away. The fringe colonies are being searched. We cannot keep doing this." Kang Day had no answer. He was tired too, tired of fighting, tired of losing people he cared about. He looked at Princess Yuna, expecting her to have some plan, some solution. But she looked as lost as everyone else. That night, Kang Day found her in the observation deck, staring out at the stars. She had been crying. The armor and royal bearing were gone, leaving just a person who had lost everything. "I thought exposing the truth would fix things," she said quietly. "I thought if people just knew they would stop fighting. But I only made it worse. Now Valastrians are killing each other. The war has spread." "You did what was right," Kang Day said, sitting beside her. "Did I? Park Hana is dead?" "General Ryan is probably dead. Thousands have died in the fighting I started. How is that right? Because the alternative was worse. The war would have continued until one side was extinct. At least now there is a chance for something better." "I do not see a chance. I only see death." Kang Day took her hand. It was the first time he had touched her since everything began. Really touched her as more than just allies. "You asked me once how humans find hope in darkness," he said. "The answer is we do not find it, we make it. We decide that even if everything is terrible, even if we are losing, we will keep trying. Not because we think we will win, but because giving up means they win." Yuna looked at him, her amber eyes bright with tears. "I am so tired of being strong." "Then be weak for a moment. Let me be strong for both of us." She leaned against him and he held her while she cried. Outside, the stars drifted by, cold and distant. But in that moment, they had each other. Days later, a message came through on a coded channel. It was from General Hyajin, the Valastrian officer Yuna had contacted weeks ago. "Princess Yuna," the message said. "The rebellion is growing, but we need leadership. The humans are willing to negotiate peace with rebel forces, but they will not trust us without someone they believe in. We need you. Please come to the Sarion system. We can offer you protection and a chance to finish what you started." "It is a trap," Minho said immediately. Vecnor could have forced her to send that message. "Or it is real," Yuna countered. If there is any chance to turn this rebellion into real peace, I have to try. You do not have to do anything, Kang Day said. You have given enough. Let someone else lead. There is no one else, Yuna said simply. I started this. I have to see it through. In the end, Kang Day could not stop her. They jumped to the Sarian system, knowing it might be their last jump. What they found was unexpected. The Sarian system was filled with ships, Velastrian rebel forces, human military vessels, and civilian craft from dozens of species. A massive gathering of people who wanted the war to end. General Heejin's flagship greeted them personally. Princess Yuna, welcome. The galaxy has been waiting for you. Over the next weeks, negotiations began. It was slow, difficult work. Humans had decades of anger to overcome. Velastrians had centuries of pride to swallow. But slowly, impossibly, progress was made. Princess Yuna spoke at the negotiations, not as royalty, but as someone who had lived on both sides. She admitted her people's crimes. She asked for forgiveness while knowing she might never receive it. She promised to spend the rest of her life working for peace. Some humans could not forgive. Some Velastrians called her a traitor until their last breath, but others listened. Others began to believe that maybe, just maybe, peace was possible. Commander Vecnor made one final attempt to stop it. His fleet attacked the negotiations, determined to kill Princess Yuna and restart the war. But this time, humans and Velastrians fought together to stop him. The battle was fierce but short. Vecnor's ships were outnumbered and outmaneuvered by forces that had learned to work together. In the end, his flagship was destroyed, and the commander went down still screaming defiance. After the battle, Kang Day stood on the bridge of the Iron Phoenix, now barely held together with spare parts and determination. The ship had taken its last hit. It would never fly again. End of an era, he said to the empty bridge. Or the beginning of a new one, Princess Yuna said, appearing beside him. She wore simple clothes now, not armor. Just a person. What happens now? Kang Day asked. You will be some kind of leader, probably. Ambassador, maybe royalty again? I do not want that, Yuna said. I spent my whole life being what others needed me to be. For once, I want to choose my own path. What path is that? She smiled. I was thinking about your promise. You said if we survived, you would show me Earth's ocean. Kang Day laughed, surprised. You remember that? I remember everything. She took his hand. The galaxy will take years to heal. Humans and Velastrians will be negotiating peace for decades. But right now, in this moment, I want to see the ocean. I want to feel sand under my feet. I want to be free, even if just for a little while. What about all those people who need you? They will manage. And we will come back to help. But first we rest. Is that not the human way? Fight hard, then rest, then fight again? Kang Day pulled her close. You are definitely becoming more human. Good, she whispered. I like being human. Months later, they stood on a beach on Earth in a small settlement where refugees from both species were learning to live together. The ocean stretched before them, vast and blue and endless. Princess Yuna, just Yuna now, stood at the water's edge, feeling the waves wash over her feet. Her eyes were wide with wonder. It is beautiful, she breathed. All this water moving and alive. How do humans live near this and not just stare at it forever? We get used to it, Kang Day said, standing beside her. But I do not think I will ever get used to this, to peace, to standing here with you. She leaned her head on his shoulder. Do you think it will last? The peace? I do not know. Probably there will be more fighting, more problems. Peace is harder to maintain than war. Then why try? Because the alternative is we all die eventually. At least this way we have a chance to live first. They watched the sun rise over the ocean, painting the sky in colors that no artist could properly capture. In the settlement behind them, human and Velastrian children played together, not understanding yet what a miracle that was. I was supposed to be a weapon, Yuna said quietly. I was trained from birth to destroy humanity. Instead, I fell in love with a human. I learned to hope like a human. I chose freedom like a human. Any regrets? Not one. She turned to face him fully. You gave me a choice that day in the cell. Kill you or take you? I chose to take you. And you chose to see me as a person, not a princess or enemy. That changed everything. Kang Day kissed her, there on the beach with the ocean as their witness. It was gentle and fierce at the same time, full of promise and relief and hope. When they finally pulled apart, Yuna was smiling. So this is what peace feels like. This is what it feels like, Kang Day agreed. They stood there for a long time, hands intertwined, human and Velastrian, scarred and elegant. Two people from opposite sides of a war who had found something more important than victory. They had found each other, and in finding each other, they had shown the galaxy that peace was possible. Not easy, not perfect, but possible.